June 25th, 1975. A single decision by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi changed the course of Indian democracy. For 21 months, civil liberties were suspended, dissent was crushed, and the constitution was bent, perhaps even broken. This was the emergency, and this is how it unfolded.
The defense of our national interest, as indeed the solution of any problem, rests ultimately in our own hands.
India had just emerged victorious in the 1971 war with Pakistan, but peace didn't bring stability. The economy was reeling from the war's expenses, drought, and the global oil shock. Corruption, price rise, and joblessness triggered mass discontent. In Gujarat, student protests brought down a Congress government. In Bihar, a new movement was born, led by veteran socialist Jai Prakash Narayan, or JP. He called for a total revolution, Sampurna Kranti. Then came the trigger. On June 12, 1975, the Allahabad High Court convicted Indira Gandhi of electoral malpractice. She was barred from contesting elections for 6 years, but not from being Prime Minister. Mass protests followed. JP called on civil servants and military to reject government orders.
An anti-government march in
June 25, 1975, Indira Gandhi's government moved swiftly. President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad declared a national emergency under Article 352, citing internal disturbance. At midnight, power to newspaper offices was cut. At 8 a.m. the next morning, the nation heard the news from the Prime Minister herself on All India Radio.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है। इससे आतंकित होने का कोई कारण नहीं है। आप सभी गहरे और व्यापक षड्यंत्र से अवगत होंगे जो उस समय से रचा जा रहा है जब से मैंने भारत के जनसाधारण के लाभ के लिए कुछ प्रगतिशील उपाय करने शुरू किए।
India was no longer a democracy in practice. The emergency suspended fundamental rights, freedom of speech, of the press, and even the right to life. More than 1 lakh people were jailed, including opposition leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani, and George Fernandez. Draconian laws like the Maintenance of Internal Security Act and Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act were used for arrests without trial. The press censored. Newspapers were pre-screened, some left blank spaces in protest. Parliament passed sweeping amendments, most infamously the 42nd Amendment. It gave Parliament unchecked power, took away judicial review, and prioritized directive principles over fundamental rights. The emergency made India's federal structure toothless. States were ruled from the center. Indira Gandhi's son Sanjay Gandhi unleashed a brutal sterilization drive. Poor people were picked up and forcibly sterilized. In Muzaffarnagar, police opened fire on protesters. At least 50 people were killed. In Delhi, slums near Turkman Gate were bulldozed. People who resisted were shot. In 1976, the Lok Sabha's term was extended by a year. But in early 1977, Indira surprisingly lifted the emergency and called for elections. Perhaps she believed she'd win, but the people had other plans. In the 1977 elections, the Janata Party, a coalition of opposition groups, swept to power. Morarji Desai became the first non-Congress Prime Minister. The new government reversed many emergency-era laws. The 44th Amendment made it much harder to declare another emergency. The word internal disturbance was replaced with armed rebellion. The emergency was over, but its shadow remained. It also gave rise to a new generation of leaders: Lalu Prasad, Ram Vilas Paswan, Arun Jaitley, and others. The Janata experiment collapsed by 1979. Today, 50 years on, the emergency is not just history, it's a warning of how fragile democracy can be and how power left unchecked can upend the very soul of a nation. That's it for today's video. For more such videos, like and subscribe.